This radio program is PG-13. Parents strongly caution some material may be inappropriate for children under the age of 13.
The following program is sponsored by Michael W. Smith. The views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Arizona, Phoenix, Brother Mike. Back on the radio, hardcorechristianity.com. Thanks for tuning into the program. May God richly bless you today. Thanks for supporting us over the years. Deeply appreciated. Today's Bible study, Gender-Affirming Care. It is sweeping the country. New study out. I wanted to read it to you. It's going to be an interesting day on the radio. How about some announcements? This is Brother Mike. I am the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center in Central Phoenix. We're downtown, 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road. It's the red brick building. HardcoreChristianity.com is the website, and we have all of our ministry services listed there. September 2nd is our Children's Healing and Deliverance Service. If you have a preteen who needs prayer, please show up Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. Please remember to hit the PayPal button and send us another donation. My Sunday podcast is at 9 o'clock Arizona and Pacific time. Just go to twitch.tv and put in the code HCCADC, and you're there. Don't forget about our Zoom services. The ladies' Zoom is Tuesday night at 6:30 Pacific time. Wednesday night is Zoom for men and women. Every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time and Arizona time. We have 2 live services every week at 7 p.m. Arizona and Pacific time. Preaching, teaching, healing, and deliverance at both of those services. May God richly bless you. Research is starting to come out now on gender-affirming care. What is that? That's the medical profession trying to fix someone's innate identity that they claim is causing them to identify as a sex other than their actual birth sex. You know what it is. If you're born a boy, you think you're a girl. If you're born a girl, you think it's a boy. The bottom line is it is a satanic avalanche sweeping the country caused by social media, Instagram, and TikTok. But check out these numbers from the Journal of American Medical Association. The journal called JAMA, the JAMA Network. Check this out. They did some research between 2016 and 2019 showing that these gender-affirming care and surgeries are increasing all over the country. Okay? Federal law is even requiring that insurance cover the procedures. The trend is up. But what's really interesting is most of the surgeries, believe it or not, are outpatient. They're outpatient procedures. It's usually somebody is not seen in the hospital or put in the hospital as a patient. And part of their body, of course, is changed to the sex that they identify with. It's a transgender or non-binary patient. And they perform surgery on them to essentially turn them into another sex. In a new study from the Nationwide Ambulatory Surgery Sample, they took a look at surgeries from 2016 to 2020. They were tracking people who have had these procedures that were not required to stay in a hospital. Okay, these are outpatient procedures. They also did another survey from the National Inpatient Sample Group. And those are the ones that have inpatient surgeries. Very interesting material. The study found that more than 48,000 people had at least one gender-affirming surgery during this time period. They included top surgeries and bottom surgeries. What's a top surgery? Of course, it's chest procedures where you have mastectomies or you have implants. That made up 56% of the surgeries. Bottom surgeries, what are those? Of course, those are surgeries for your genitalia. It's genitalia or genital reconstruction. That made up 35% of the surgeries. Facial and other cosmetic surgeries were also included in this research. It's been amazing. The number of surgeries rose from over 4,500 in 2016 to over 13,000 in 2019. Medical appointments related to gender identity disorder rose from over 13,000 in 2016 to almost 40,000 in 2020. 52% of the surgeries were done on people 19 to 30 years old. Breast and chest procedures were twice as common as genital procedures in that age group from 19 to 30. 21% of the people who had surgery were ages 31 to 40. Genital surgeries were more common among people 40 and older. And they found that very few surgeries, less than 10%, were between the ages of 12 to 18. And the problem with that is many states are banning gender-affirming care to patients that are under 18, minors. And the reason they're doing that is because somebody ended up with half a brain. Somebody started to think clearly, hey, a minor can't be trusted to do all kinds of things. I mean, a 12-year-old can't go buy a gun. They can't get a driver's license. They can't join the military. I mean, there's all kinds of things that minors can't do for obvious reasons, or what used to be obvious reasons. They don't have the knowledge or the experience to handle certain types of things because they are a child, because they are a minor, because they are children. Duh. According to the survey, most of the time surgery was not recommended until the patient was an adult. Well, for obvious reasons, here's what's happening nationwide. Personal injury lawyers are starting to snake out these cases. Personal injury lawyers are starting to invade this field, and they've been noticing numerous cases that have been performed on children and adults where they had a pre-existing mental illness that wasn't noticed or attended to. The obvious is true. It still is true. In the DSM-1, transgenderism, transvestitism, we call them drag queen story hours now, was listed as a mental illness. People who engaged in these kind of behaviors were considered to be mental ill in the DSM-1. In the DSM-5, which is the current one, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders, it's the Bible of psychiatry. This book allows each mental illness to be defined and has a code that has to be used when the professional therapist, counselor, or doctor turns in their billing. There's a billing code to identify the mental illness so that you get covered under insurance. Here's the situation. The American Medical Association, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry are now all on board with transgenderism and non-binary transitions. This thing has spread throughout our society with no scientific research or backup at all. There is no science to document that a person can be another sex when they were born biologically in another sex. There is no research on this. This is a social, satanic, demonic problem that Satan has spread all over the country, and he's not going to stop until he is in complete command. But what is happening now is personal injury lawyers are starting to pick up on these cases, and they're looking at major medical malpractice cases with huge punitive damage awards. And this is going to help us slow this down by causing the AMA and the APA and so on to be held accountable for gender-affirming care, particularly for minors. Transgenderism has quadrupled over the last 40 years. There's always been transgenders, but it's never been as popular as this. And it's all the result of demonic and satanic marketing on places like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and social media. What they're doing is promoting this falsehood that biological sex is not real. Biological sex does not determine your gender. There's no scientific proof to support this. It's all a social phenomenon, but it is big money for hospitals and outpatient care centers to perform these surgeries. The second problem the personal injury lawyers are noticing is that these surgeries, particularly bottom surgeries, they are extremely complicated. And if you don't have a highly skilled, highly experienced surgeon, you're going to end up with your genitals mutilated and destroyed for the rest of your life. And nobody is ever going to be able to fix it or correct it. And lawyers are picking up on this. And they're suing and bringing malpractice claims against these hospitals and these doctors. And you're going to see these procedures start to slow down dramatically unless the government steps in and is used as a buffer for these malpractice claims. We know what it is. This is caused by unclean spirits that get into your body and morph your sexuality. And if you have this problem, 602-636-5800, I implore you, I beg you, I ask you, come to the Deliverance Center, schedule an appointment. If you're a Christian, there's no charge for counseling services. 602-636-5800. Please come before it's too late. See you next time.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.